Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Football League Show. My name is Emmett. I'm here with my co-host Brendyn.
Yo, what's up, guys?
We're also joined by our special guest today, the little hombre. He will be giving us his takes a little later in the episode. They should be a scary good time. Wow, I hate myself for saying that. All right. There'll be some dad jokes throughout this episode, guys. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
You guys can find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Twitter. We're on all platforms. Come chat with us. Come talk with us. We love hearing you guys' thoughts on our takes, on our videos, and interacting with you guys. But let's hop right into it. We got a lot of news to cover this week. Starting off with that Thursday night football game, as always. Looks like the Bucs took on the Bills. The Bills did end up winning that one, 24-18, but the Bucs had a chance at the end on that Hail Mary if Godwin had just gotten his head around to make a play on that.
He did. Some
missed PIs that we won't get into right now, I guess.
Yep.
Josh Allen went 31 of 40 with 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Baker Mayfield looked solid at 25 of 42 with 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. The second-year player out of Boise State, Khalil Shakir, had 6 catches for 92 yards, and the rookie Dalton Kincaid for the Bills had 5 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. What was your take from the game? What were your thoughts?
I was happy as hell with Dalton, the rookie tight end, Kincaid. I picked him up on the good old waiver wire this week. He got me like 18 points. He almost had 2 touchdowns, actually. He was maybe a foot away from the end zone and did the little shuttle pass to him down there on the goal line. But dude, I gotta give credit to the Bucs in general. Even though they lost, dude, they just kept on fighting. And I think they were 8.5 point underdogs going into the game, maybe something like that. And they just kept on fighting. I mean, Baker was running for his life back there, dude. The Bucs O-line did him no favors. But yeah, I know the Bucs. They look good. They fought the Bills again. They still had some issues on offense a little bit, but they're able to work stuff out. And again, that Hail Mary to Godwin. What the hell, dude? That could have been a crazy ending. He just didn't turn around his head fast enough, and the ball just didn't. No one touched the ball, right? It just fell down. Boom. It's like a damn missile just hitting this contact. It was just boom. But no, it was a good game. I liked it. Yeah. No, it was a solid game, better game I thought it was going to be. I thought the Bills were going to blow out the Bucs, but the Bucs just keep on fighting this season. So the record doesn't show it. I think they're 3-4 right now.
I think so.
The Bills improved to be 5-3. So no, man, it was a good game. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. I think we kind of maybe underestimated the Bucs coming into the year. Baker Mayfield hadn't impressed us too much lately, and I think we had low expectations, especially the video that's coming out of camp of him just missing all his receivers. But yeah, I think it was a great opportunity for the Bucs to get some spotlight, national attention to kind of see what the team really is. And I was a lot more impressed than I initially thought I was going to be. There clearly seemed to be some kind of disconnect between Baker and the receivers that night. A lot of uncharacteristic drops by Mike Evans. There was one that, it's a crazy play to make, but it's a play we kind of expect Mike Evans to make at this point. It was a throw between the safety and the back corner, and the back of the end zone. And Mike Evans had it between his fingertips and had 2 feet down, and the ball got smacked out. Oh, that would have been a crazy ass touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with the way Baker played. I thought, again, the numbers are pretty average, but it looked better than what I was expecting to see. So maybe still some hope for Baker Mayfield as a franchise quarterback. I think another thing I'll get to the Bills in a second. I apologize for talking so much about the Buccaneers. I just feel like we haven't seen much of them this year. I was very surprised by the lack of a run game. I feel like we've been, hearing a lot of good things from Rashad Jones, I think his name is.
White. I think it's Rashad White.
White, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we'd been hearing some good things, that he was having a decent season, and to get down there and actually watch the game, and I think they averaged 3 yards a carry or 2.7 yards a carry or something like that. It was actually kind of surprising.
Their O-line sucks, dude. They were not not even giving Baker time. But yeah, dude, White is good though. He's explosive. They get the ball in his hand. They ran a couple screens with them. He's good, but dude, their O-line was just shoddy.
Which is crazy because they have Tristan Wirfs, who's a really good left tackle. So yeah, maybe
he was banged up too. I think.
Yeah, I think they were kind of emphasizing that because they kept like showing talking about like, oh well, he's not full go today. But yeah, like I said, overall it's a good game. I think for the Bucks, I think Baker fits a lot more than we initially thought he was going to in the offseason. And it could be something to build around there. Get that O line improved. The D line looked, D line. The defense looked pretty solid. They held the Bills 24 points. Josh Allen tried going Superman and wasn't even able to be his usual Superman self. Again, on the flip side of that, I mean, the Bills have so many weapons, dude. If it's not Stephon Diggs, it's Gabe Davis. If it's not Gabe Davis, it's Khalil Shakir. If it's not Khalil Shakir, it's Dalton Kincaid. Now they're down to one tight end, and it's a rookie from Utah who's still busting his butt and making plays. They're trying to feed him as much as they can. So I mean, again, that Bills team is scary, but they need to play consistently. They can't keep playing down to the competition. You need to be the Bills week in and week out. So I mean, again,
agreed. Especially since that defense is beat up too.
Yeah. Like I said, no disrespect to the Bucks, but they're obviously in different points of the power tiers right now. So the Bills should have handled that game pretty well. And to be fair, again, they technically could have lost that one as well, which we've mentioned a few times with them is, well, they won, but they really came close to losing this one. So, all right, let's move on a little bit here. Will Levis is expected to get his first start. He will be switching it out a little bit with Malik Willis, but Levis is going to be the primary quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is out with an ankle injury. Any thoughts on that? What should our expectations be for Will Levis be?
Yeah, I'll be honest here. I was the first guy kind of hate on Will Levis when he got drafted. So I kind of hope he kind of proves me wrong tomorrow, or if you're watching it today, this show today. So I don't know. I also saw a interview that was on a local like Tennessee network or something like that, and it was Will talking about him switching off with Levis or Willis, sorry. And he made like this face that said like, oh, like I don't think it'll be that much rotation. So I'm eager to see how much Malik Willis plays tomorrow. Maybe be one of those like this package deals where like they want Malik to run a little bit or something like that. But it sounds like tomorrow or today, depending again what time you're watching this show. Will Levis seems to be like the guy that'll play throughout the entire game. So I'm eager to see how he does, and maybe he'll drink some mayo and coffee tomorrow morning and go crazy. So see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I remember I tweeted out once the announcement came out that they're going to be switching between or play Will Levis instead of Malik Willis. Sorry, those names.
I know. It's crazy.
So
I can't
Malik
get it right.
I was surprised they're going to play Levis instead of Malik because Malik has been the number 2 quarterback all season. He won the job in the preseason, and he came in relief of Tannehill last week. And there were some good plays, there were some bad plays, but there was some. He wasn't really getting a whole lot of help again. And so the decision to start Levis over Malik kind of makes me wonder where Tennessee is with Malik. Have they seen enough? They're done. They're like, hey, you know what? We just need you for your legs at this point. We don't view you as a solid option as a starting quarterback. Which again, this is now what year 3 or year 2 for him in the system, I believe, right?
2, yeah, same class as Pickett, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of concerning a little bit for Tennessee's perspective, and now you're expecting Levis to be the answer for the rest of not the rest of the season, but you're going to be using this to determine if you're going to be rolling with Levis next year or drafting another rookie quarterback. So Tennessee's just in such an odd spot right now, and I don't know what the plan is for them at quarterback, but this indicates to me the decision to roll with with Levis versus Malik tells me they're done with Malik, which is really unfortunate.
Agreed.
He like has a lot of potential.
Agreed. Yeah, this tells me that Malik didn't show them enough to warrant like another start. It's more like, okay, well, to your point, we know what Malik is. Let's give Will a shot here. So yeah.
Which we talked about in the offseason. We said it would have been great for Tennessee to trade Malik somewhere else to give him an opportunity to be the guy. And imagine if that trade got through. Imagine if he was the Jets quarterback right now.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah.
But, all right. So officiating has been awful so far this season. Jim Irsay said in a post that the NFL contacted him and admitted that they had made incorrect calls towards the end of the Colts-Browns game, which I don't know if anyone watching this did, but I did watch that game, and it was a shit show, clown show towards the end of the game. B, what do you take? I know it was a kind of a big deal that he had said that. Do you think it's a big deal that an owner of an NFL team is coming out saying, "Well, yeah, the NFL admitted to me there was bad officiating"? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, a little bit. I saw this in the college level too. I know it's different, but I saw a couple of coaches, especially Ryan Day, come out like after, like 2 days after their game, and like Saturday or whatnot, and go, yeah, I don't know, the NCAA told me like to mess up these like calls. Like, so it seems like a common theme, I guess. And I don't know. Back when we played at Stevens Point, I remember our head coach like we would go through like film and say, yeah, I'm gonna send this play into NCAA. They like messed up. So I'm like, at one hand, I mean, I guess it's kind of like this has been going on forever. But then on the other hand, it's like, what difference does it make? Like, the game's already over. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I mean, it's cool that the NFL admitted to it, I guess, but get it right in real time because you are impacting these games. Like the game's
yeah.
already over. So what the hell does it even matter?
And I think that the part of the difference between that is because we used to do the same thing. In fact, I think one year at Sierra, we had Coach Noonan like literally read us the report of this play was wrong, this play was wrong. Like they sent back like the email and everything.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it was one of those games that was just horribly officiated, and he was still like it was like Tuesday practice, and he was still on it. We're in film room, and he's just and they said this about this, and they said that, and they said this one was officiated correctly. I don't see that there on this play. It was just it was a funny hour film sesh.
yeah.
Um, but I think, like I said, in the NFL, it's a little different because normally they stand by their officials and it's like, hey, they made the right call. They saw what they saw. It is what it is. Suck it up and move on. And like I said, you don't ever get access to the officials to ask them. It's usually just, hey, I mean, guys in the NFL get fined for questioning the officials. So for
That's
the
true.
NFL to sit here and come out and be like, we did fuck that up. Our guys fucked that up. I mean, I'm sure they're not thrilled that he said that because now it does paint the picture of well, our guys did make mistakes versus how they, normally want them to be portrayed as they're all right. They're all right. They're always right. They're, the authority out
Yeah,
there and they can't be wrong. So
yeah.
if you're,
Is it usually the owner that gets involved? Because this is like one of the first times I've seen like an owner of like a team get involved with
I
the
don't,
refing of
I,
like a
this is
game.
the first time I think I've ever heard of an owner questioning it. Normally they don't ever
Yeah,
come out and
same.
say anything. Normally like the
Yeah,
head coach will dance around it a little bit, but not too much because they don't want to get fined. And then a player will say some shit like, "Oh, that was horrible," and then they get a $15,000 fine the next day. But I don't
yeah.
think I can remember any time of a owner coming out and
Like owner
saying,
coming out. Yeah.
"What are you gonna do? You got to find the." Well, I guess they could find the owner. They've done it
I
before.
guess they
If you want to
could.
find the guy, well, yeah, I guess they could do that. hundred
Yeah.
thousand
Well,
dollars, but that's pennies to
maybe
him.
that's like part of it too, because like Ursay was very. I mean, he's very vocal about like the Colts too. He's always been. So maybe that's
Yeah,
one of the things. That's why NFL came out and said something because Ursay was making noise about it too, or I don't know. But yeah, no. It's a weird game.
yeah, weird game, weird situation. And again, if you didn't watch it, go back and if you can at the NFL replay or whatever it is. It is a fuck. There was like 3 or 4 penalties on the last drive by the Browns in overtime to just keep giving them a fresh set of downs in the red zone. It was wild to watch. All right, Justin Fields is out again against the Chargers. This would be a very important game for the quarterback situation in Chicago that may have lasting implications for the rest of the season. If Baggett plays well and the Bears pull off the upset, B, do you see right, Baguette,
Bajan.
Baggett,
It's
Bagel?
yeah, it's yeah. Tyson Bajan. I don't know if I don't know, man. I'm keeping my hopes extremely low. I mean, they already are very low. They're like the fucking basement right now. So I don't know. A lot of Bears fans. There's like this running joke within the Chicago Bears fan base is like the most loved player on the team is always the backup quarterback because the fans just think the grass is greener on the other side. It happens with every single like era of quarterback play. So I'll see what happens. It sucks that Field is out because I personally just want to see him play, but obviously his thumb's so messed up. And the noise will get loud if Tyson Bagent goes to LA, plays well, and the Bears win. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on Fields. And if you're the coaching staff, do you honestly move away from that? I mean, Bajan would be 2-0. in his first 2 starts. Team is
Yeah.
winning. You know what I mean? I don't think the Bears have won back-to-back games in like 3 or 4 seasons or something like that. Like something like crazy. You know what I mean? So I mean, I could talk about the Bears and their QB stuff for like 20 minutes, but it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens on Sunday night. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Anything else is going to be determined by how big, if they do win, how big the win is. If it's a, blowout like we just saw where it's 30-10, I mean, it's hard to go away from. If he, struggles and puts up 18 points and they barely beat the Chargers because the Chargers can't get anything fucking going, then I think it's maybe a little bit easier to turn back to Justin Fields. But if he puts up another great performance where he's getting the ball where he needs to go, getting it out on time, not doing too much, I mean, that's tough to turn away from. It's almost like a Brock Purdy situation. And I hate to bring it up. I'm not trying to sit here and invoke that, like this guy's Brock Purdy. But, sometimes it's all the quarterback position needs to be is are you getting the ball out on time where it needs to go accurately? It doesn't need to be some crazy shit with, like Mahomes running around backwards and throwing the ball 80 yards out. I mean, to be fair, we don't even see that from Mahomes anymore. I mean, what's the last time we really saw a crazy play from Mahomes? He does what he's supposed to do now. He doesn't need to do the crazy shit anymore. He plays within, the Andy Reid system.
The structure.
Yeah, the structure of the play calls. I think it'd be interesting. I think it's also going to be a determination on what kind of win, if it is a win, it is. And on the flip side of that, if he does win, do we see Brandon Staley fired from the Chargers?
If you lose to the Bears, bro, with a backup quarterback, I don't know,
especially
man.
with Justin Herbert as your quarterback.
That's the other flip side of it too, because I'm talking, so down about the Bears, but the Chargers are also another 2-win team. Like, I mean, and I think they're 9-point favorites against the Bears, which they should, because the Bears are awful. But again, they are also a 2-win team. If you lose this game against the Bears and fall, they haven't had a bye week yet, so they'd be 2-6 or 2-5, something like that. I don't know how many weeks we're at week 8, right? So they'll be 2-6 if they lose to the Bears on Sunday. That's awful, dude. That's awful. You have a top 5 quarterback. That's awful.
You have top 5 weapons. You have top 5 defense. Everywhere you look, they have top.
Everywhere.
I mean, look at the J.C. Jackson situation with the Chargers. Left the Patriots in the offseason, signed with the Chargers, healthy, scratch, and active for like 3 weeks, traded back to the Patriots, immediately becomes a star again. It's like, how do you guys sign this guy and you don't even know how to use him? You don't even know how to fit your system. What? Dude, I just can't figure what's going on in Los Angeles there with the Chargers. Like, just
I don't get it.
Poor management.
I don't get it, man. Like, to your point, they have studs everywhere, at every level. Like, how do you have Joey 2 Bosa, wins?
Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr. Again, you had J.C. Jackson. You fucked that off. You got Austin Eckler and not Mike Evans. Oh my God, what's the guy? 13
Williams. They have Williams and they have Keenan Allen. Well, Williams is hurt now, and then they have that Johnson guy from TCU.
Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I mean, just weapons.
Slater's a good tackle.
Yeah, and you guys, you can't figure out how to win fucking games. It's the highest level of ineptitude I think that is in the NFL right now. Like, how are you so fucking bad? You have all these stars and you can't win fucking games.
Can't win games.
Their talent is technically on par with what the 49ers have on all levels. I mean, they have a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro at every single position, it feels like, except I think maybe linebacker, maybe. And you guys are 2-6? 2-5.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2-5. If you lose 2-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, heads have got to roll if you lose to the Bears. Yeah. Just awful.
And it's tough because the GM's looking at him like, dude, I'm loading up the fucking roster. Like, they are poised to win now. Like, if this is their like window, right? Yeah. Because has Herbert got his extension yet?
I think he did.
He did. So their window is right now, dude. Like, he put in so many financial resources into this like roster. So he's like, bro, like they have to win now. Like, yeah.
Let's go through a little speed run here because we are getting a little pressed for time. I didn't think we were going to include a Chargers aspect of that, but we did, and I'm sure Chargers.
We went deep on Chargers.
So Brock Purdy's in concussion protocol and is questionable. He did participate in the last 2 days of practice and has a legitimate chance of playing. Trent Williams is also questionable for the 49ers, and Deebo Samuel is out with a hairline fracture in his shoulder. He's going to be out for another, I think, week or two. So not really a whole lot to break down there. It's crazy, Purdy's potential ability to come back from this, considering I think it was just found out on the plane ride back, which was Monday. Then I think he practiced Tuesday limited. He was throwing the ball, which is like phase 4 of returning to play for concussion protocol, and then practiced pretty much the rest of the week. So
yeah,
he could. And I think I'm at this point. I'm saying he probably will suit up, but we'll see. We'll see if he passes. If not, it's Sam Darnold time. We get to figure out the question of, is it a system thing, which is really dumb, but whatever.
I think he'll be all right though. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, they play the Bengals, so if they're running out Sam Darnold, I feel much less comfortable with them than I do Brock Purdy. So,
for sure.
Yeah, and we can have a whole discussion on what is going on with them, but I will save that for another day. Let's see if they can get the ship right and save us the headache. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has been activated off of the IR and is listed as doubtful to play versus the Ravens despite being fully healthy. So he's been a full participant. He's off the injury report, yet he's listed as doubtful. Give you a quick scenario here. Tell me what you think. Is he doubtful because he's not up to speed on the playbook yet? Which is weird because he's had all this time to memorize it. But maybe he hasn't played in it yet. Or is he doubtful because he gets moved before the Tuesday trade deadline and they don't want him getting hurt?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one to give my quick synopsis on. I feel like it's... I feel like it's neat. I'm going with option C, and maybe he's just not ready yet. Like maybe just give him another week. Dobbs is doing okay. Like, it's not really a dire need to get him out there. I think they kind of face the fact this season is not going to be super successful in regards to their record. So maybe they've given Kyler another week to either get ready or maybe trade him.
Yeah, I'd probably go with option A. And that's essentially option A. Is I think it's like, let's give him another week. He can get a little more reps with the receivers. We're not throwing him out there super cold where it's like, hey, you haven't played in a year, now go play against the best players in the world.
Exactly.
So I really doubt he gets moved at this point. If they had the number 1 pick right now, I would say maybe. But they're, I think, pick 2 right now with slim to zero chance of getting pick 1 because the Panthers haven't won a game yet. And that team is what Gannon is doing there, the head coach for the Cardinals, is not being talked about enough. He is keeping what has to be the worst roster, the absolute worst roster in the NFL, competitive in every single game. I mean, he is coaching those boys up so well that they're not getting blown out like they should. Like, they come to every game with a fight. They think they have a chance in every game. I mean, and you take that situation compared to what the Chargers situation is. I mean, it's crazy to see how much of a good coaching impact can have on a roster.
For sure.
So I don't see them having any chance of the number 1 overall pick. So I don't see any chance of Kyler Murray being moved. So I agree. I think it's just option A. Let him get another week under his belt of health, recovery, reps with receivers, and he probably starts next week. So if he's still available, and from my understanding, he is available in a lot of leagues, pick him up for your waiver wire. You can either trade him eventually, or you can start him if you need a quarterback. I picked him up, and I have Tua Tagovailoa as my starting quarterback. So
there we go.
Great little stash there. Daniel Jones, more quarterback news. Daniel Jones continues to be out with a neck injury. He will miss his 3rd straight week. Earlier in the week, Brian Dable said he wasn't sure when Daniel Jones would be back or if he'd even be back this season at all. So a lot of mystery surrounding that kind of injury and the return to play. But Tyrod Taylor has looked really good in Daniel Jones' place, and statistically speaking, you can make the argument he's almost been an improvement. Do you think they should just write it out with Tyrod, or do you think go back?
I don't think they should write it out with him. They put a big financial commitment to Daniel Jones. You might as well play him. Well, yeah, no, they look good. They were a couple plays away from beating the Bills 2 weeks ago. They beat the Washington Commies last week, so No, they're looking good.
Oh my god, and they
You like
represent Washington D.C.
you like
Fuck me,
my
man.
nickname for them?
What's worse? What's worse is their color scheme is is essentially red. And I don't know what you know about history, but the Red Scare with the Communist
Yep.
Party.
Yep.
Look at that. Oh, that's so bad.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
I'm not mentioning
I
that.
can't take credit for it though. I heard it from somewhere. But yeah,
I
I think
think
it's
I've
pretty
seen it
fitting.
before, but I don't know why. Like you saying it right there, all just clicked for me. Of fuck.
I
All right.
think Pat and like the boys said it before. But yeah, it's funny. I love it.
Awful. Uh, if we could do a whole segment on team names and the best practice for going about it, and maybe in the off season we have a shit ton of time, we'll do that. It's just like a fun little side project for us. But moving on, more quarterback injury news, and then we got one more point. Deshaun Watson will be out again this week with a shoulder injury. Apparently, I believe they said a bruise to some ligament or sac in the back of
It's
the
like something in
shoulder.
his rotator cuff, right?
Yeah, like right around that
Yeah.
area. Ooh, I just tore my
Yeah, I
rotator cuff.
think they completely like mismanaged him. They completely mismanaged. He shouldn't have even suited up last week. Cause didn't he get hurt like halfway through the game or something like that? Like,
So they said technically he didn't get hurt. That he tried going out there and playing on it, and just about halfway through it wasn't feeling right. So he just shut it down. I was like, "This isn't feeling right, guys. Get me out of here now."
yeah,
So, which has called some people to question his desire to actually play and everything else about it, which I think isn't the right thing. I don't think it's fair to question his desire to play, but I think at this point we can all agree that that trade and contract has not played out so well for
this
the
has
Browns.
not lived up at all.
No.
No, it has not. It's an awful
Again, which
contract.
I'm not sure how much you want to touch that with all the shit that happened before going into the trade, the PR after, and it's just
There was
been
a lot of touching. Yeah.
there was a lot of touching, which was weird.
It
I didn't
was
know
lots.
like if I knew they were giving massages out in the training room, like just even regular massages, not like anything inappropriate, just like a regular massage. No one told me that. For the 18 years I was in college football, no one ever told me you can get a massage in a
Yeah.
training room. Can you imagine
I
going
would have been
in?
in there.
All the team would have been there. Imagine
Yeah.
asking athletic trainers, "Hey, can you guys just massage my back for me? It's going to help me play." I think they would have just literally kicked us out, laughed at us, and kicked us
Yeah.
out.
They'd be like, dude, we don't
You
offer
get no
that shit.
treatment for this week.
Yeah.
Don't even come to the training room. You don't get ice this week. We're not scalping you nothing.
You don't get ice. You don't get treatment at all. Go. Leave.
Coach, I broke my leg. Go to the training room. I can't. I asked for a massage once. I'm not allowed in there anymore. Dalvin Cook is frustrated with his role in the Jets offense amid trade chatter. He is not officially asked for a trade, but he has met with Jets GM Joe Douglas about improving his usage. He kind of mentioned he needs a lot of carries to get going. He's better late in games once he's got 10, 15, 20 carries. And I guess he thought that's what he was getting when he signed with the Jets, which is wild to me. I don't know why his agent didn't tell him, "Hey, Dalvin, there's a guy named Brees Hall here that's pretty freaking good, and they really like him." Like, if that was the goal, why sign with the Jets? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, yeah, you hit it exactly on the head. You have Brees Hall on the same team, who's younger than you and probably better right now. No, it is for sure better than you right now.
Yes,
you were signed 3 days before the damn season started, dude. What do you think is going to happen? You're not the lead back. You're not the factor back. Brees Hall is. Sorry.
What's crazy is to me, I think my understanding was he signed there to get a ring because Aaron Rodgers was there. They had Garrett Wilson, all this hype around the team. He signed there because he wanted to ring chase,
right?
Not because he wanted to stat chase. I think now that the season hasn't gone as they expected or he expected it to, I think now he's frustrated. Like, well, we're not winning and I'm not getting these stats. What the fuck?
He's like, what's going on here?
That's the risk you took, dude. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that wraps up our news of the week segment. Went a little longer than we thought. We're good though. We're fine.
We're like 30 minutes in already. Shit.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Whoops.
No kidding.
Shit, I didn't think I need to eat. All right. We're gonna get to our NFL games of the week. We can make up our time in this process. We have 4 great games. Last week we did not do well. I went 0 for 4. I think you went 1 for 3.
Yup.
So if you bet on our picks, that's on you. I apologize for that. No,
I am
we
not
need to be better.
responsible for you losing money, people.
We need to be better. We will be better. I think on the season still. I think we still both have. We're winning numbers here. But we gotta get ready to get on track this week. We got some good games to pick from. Starting off, and I think we learned a valuable lesson last week. So what I'm gonna start basing my picks off of is whatever you say. I'm just gonna pick the opposite of it.
All
I'm
right.
throwing all analysis out the window, everything
I
else,
like it.
because whenever we pick the same team, they never win.
That's
Never.
fair. That's fair.
And also, second rule, I am never picking against the Ravens again. Ravens fans, I apologize. I don't know what I've been doing. Every time I pick against them, nope, they blow that team out.
You know what? I was just biased by the Cinderella story of like the Lions. That's what I blame it on. I blame it on the media pushing that narrative onto me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the media. All right, guys, let's get into this. We got 4 games. Loading them up here. We got Jags, Steelers, Browns, Seahawks, Vikings, Packers, and Bengals, 49ers. Starting off, the game for the Jaguars, and Steelers will be in Pittsburgh. The Jaguars are favored by 2. ESPN is giving them a 60% chance of winning, the Jaguars, that is. And it's going to be 48 degrees with a chance of some showers towards the end of the game. B, what are your thoughts? Who are you taking?
I'm taking the dirty towels, man. Just Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers. I know you wanted the Jags, and I picked the Jags for my confidence pool league that I'm in. But for the sake of right now, I'm gonna give my argument for the Steelers. They know how to win dirty. I mean, I think we said this last week on the show. They haven't led like a game yet in time of possession or like total yards or something like that, and like they just somehow just win the game. I don't know how they're. I think that 4 wins right now. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Especially because the entire Steelers fan base hates Matt. What was his name? Matt's Canada, the OC.
Oh, Matt Canada, the OC. Yeah,
they're ready to like kill him, but somehow they keep winning games. And the Steelers are at home. It's gonna be a cold game. Got those Florida boys coming up. North a little bit there. It's gonna be raining a little bit. Give me those Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, they're winning a lot because of their defense, but give me the Jags in this one. I was looking at the weather, and it was saying there's chances of rain and everything. I was like, who does that favor more if they can't really throw the ball too much? I'm like, the Jags. I mean, they got Travis Etienne. They have Tank Bigsley, whatever his last name is. They got a tank back there. The Steelers essentially are one-dimensional offense, and that one dimension is nothing. It's their defense. They can't throw the ball very well. They can't run the ball very well. I don't know.
They cannot do anything. Offense. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Again, I don't know how. No, I mean, you said their defense, and I guess TJ Watt did score last week, so it's basically part of the offense. But like their offense is awful.
Yeah, and even I think it's the Steelers Ravens game. Pretty much the defense is the only reason they won that game. Their offense has been inept. So I'm going to give it to the Jags. I think they're going to figure it out. They have 3 quarters. From what I saw, it looks like the rain might come in the 4th quarter, but they have 3 quarters to be able to throw the ball around the field as they do. They got weapons. Christian Kirk balled out last week. I know the Steelers do have a couple of good DBs, but I think they run more zone coverage, so it might be a decent Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram game. But Travis Etienne has been on fire for weeks. 2 touchdowns a game, I believe, for the last 3 weeks. He's a threat in the backfield. He's a threat out of the backfield whenever you throw it to him. Dude has been a stud, and the Clemson boys from Trevor Lawrence and Etienne, they've kept that chemistry going from the time at Clemson. So give me Jacksonville. I'm not gonna bet against the Dirty South on this one. Jacksonville over Pittsburgh.
Duval. I have to.
All right, moving on to the next one. We have the Browns versus the Seahawks. This game will be in Seattle. Seattle is favored by 4. ESPN is giving Seattle a 66% chance of winning this game. It's going to be 52 degrees and sunny, so no rain. Backup quarterback PJ Walker, I believe, is starting for Cleveland. B, who are you taking? You taking the Seahawks or are you taking the Browns?
I'm taking the Seahawks, man. I think PJ Walker's Cinderella story is over. I think he's 2-0. His first 2 starts with the Browns so far this season. I think it's done, dude. I think the Seahawks are gonna. I know we're not doing spread or anything like that, but I think they win more than like the spread. And even though Browns defense is solid, Gardner Minshew and that Colts offense put up like 30 points against them last week, which is wild. Give me Seahawks. I'm actually looking at their injury report right now because I think they're also banged up on offense. I think Tyler Lockett is banged up. I think Metcalf is also banged up. He's listed on here, but they have an unspecified game status, so I guess they're playing.
Yeah,
I think Jamal Adams coming back too for that Seahawks defense. Maybe he's listed on here, but says he's not out. So yeah, give me Seahawks.
Damn it. Yep, I'll take Seattle too. I think it's hard after you have the game you had last week where really the Browns should have lost that game against the Colts. They were definitely bailed out by poor officiating. I think the Browns gonna get a lot of bad calls against them this week. I think it's just hard to keep that Cinderella story going 3 weeks in a row. Because again, there's bad calls against the 49ers that saved their ass, bad calls against the Colts that saved their ass. Now that there's so much attention on it, I don't see how you can do it a third time in a row. The reality is they haven't been a good offense or a good team under PJ Walker, really. Again, they've just been bailed out by a lot of really questionable calls. So I think Seattle handles their business. Seattle's a good team. They really are. And Pete Carroll's going to get those boys ready. Like I said, the weather won't be an issue. Seattle's got Kenneth Walker in the backfield, who's had a solid second season. And you said all the receivers are going to be healthy?
Yeah, they're listed on here, but I think they're all playing. So
yeah. And the Seahawks just added Frank Clark back, so they should get a little boost in the pass rush after losing oh my god, I can't remember his name right now. But he's number 10. He's a solid edge rusher for them. So they're replacing him with Frank Clark. He went out with a pectoral tear. He's out for season. So give me Seattle in this game.
Easy all peasy.
Right. What? Easy peasy?
That's easy peasy.
Game 3, we're on to Vikings-Packers. It's going to be in Green Bay. Minnesota is favored by 1. ESPN is giving Minnesota a 58% chance of winning. It's going to be 44 degrees and pretty windy. What are you taking, B?
I think give me the Vikings in this one. I think it's going to be a close game, super close. I think the Vikings are just playing better football right now than the Packers. Their offense is rolling. I think Kirk Cousins had like over 300 yards last game, couple tutties. And Vikings defense looking pretty good. Packers offense looking a little bit stagnant right now. I know the game is in Green Bay. It's going to be tough. It's going to be cold. Colder, I guess. But give me the Vikings.
I just talked myself out of it. I was going to pick the Packers. Then I was thinking how Brian Flores handled Kyle Shanahan's offensive scheme, and Matt LaFleur runs a similar offensive scheme. Then I was thinking about, if that happens, it's down to passing, and who do you trust more, Kirk Cousins or Jordan Love? Obviously, I trust Kirk Cousins. But fuck it, give me the Packers. I can't pick the Vikings after what they just did to my 49ers. I'm going to take the Packers. I think the win plays a huge role in it. What rushing team do I trust more? I trust the Packers rushing game right now. Aaron Jones is back healthy, right?
That's what I'm actually about to look up.
Okay.
It's all dependent on
they have
Jones,
AJ Dillon.
You know what I mean?
And the Packers are a proud franchise. They just got embarrassed last week against a bad Broncos team, and usually proud franchises bounce back pretty well after games like that. I expect them to be a run heavy game plan against the Vikings, who typically have struggled to stop the run, except apparently against fucking San Francisco for some god unknown reason. Hopefully, Matt LaFleur runs the jet sweeps with Christian Watson to really expand that defense more than Kyle Shanahan figured to do with Ray McLeod. But yeah, give me the Packers. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. Maybe they stretch them horizontally for a 10. I don't think I'd take deep shots. It's supposed to be like 16-mile-an-hour winds or 20. No, I think it was 16 or 20-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow in Green Bay. So I'll take the Packers on that one.
And going back to Aaron Jones, he did not practice on Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday and Friday. Okay. And he does not have a game status attached to him. So I guess this says healthy. Guess that says playing.
Well, if he's limited, I'd probably venture to guess he's probably questionable. But
Well,
I
he
mean,
doesn't have a questionable tag though
weird.
on the IR report.
Maybe he's a full participant today, or maybe they're waiting to see if he practices today before they make that tag
Yeah.
determination.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
all right, either way, I'm sticking with the Packers. AJ Dillon, Quadzilla will run it down their throat for me.
He's like payback, payback in fucking blood.
No, blood for blood. That's how we live around here. So Bengals 49ers is our final game on the stretch. The game will be in Santa Clara. San Francisco is somehow favored by 5. ESPN is somehow giving San Francisco a 70% chance of winning. And it's 70 degrees and sunny in Santa Clara. In fact, I might get down there because that sounds like a lovely day.
Sounds wonderful.
I know, beautiful 7. Everything else is 40s and 52s. And Santa Clara is 70 and sunny. B, who are you taking?
I just penciled it in, the Niners. There's no way they lose 3 straight games. I don't care who the hell they're playing. There's no way they lose 3 straight games. The team is too talented for that. I think they're coming out angry. They understand they're playing the Bengals. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. If Sam Darnold is playing, hopefully he comes out firing. But yeah, give me the Niners.
If Sam Darnold is playing, I have no faith. I'm sorry. The dude has 70 some odd turnovers and 50 some odd games played. That's just unacceptable.
He's a new man now.
Huh? He's a new man now. Yeah. I saw a report about that. It was Kyle Shanahan has fixed. Sam Darnold's problem has always been between the ears, and Kyle Shanahan has fixed that. I was like, I didn't realize he was a psychologist now. That's wild. Head coach and psychology doctorate. I didn't realize that power. Anyway, I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. The 49ers have looked awful the last 2 weeks. I shouldn't say awful. They didn't look great against the Browns. They looked awful against the Vikings. They have some serious questions they need to answer, and I think they're coming off of a short week because they played Monday in Minnesota, had to fly in, and that's a tough ask. The problem doesn't seem to be a talent thing. It seems to be an execution issue. They're just they're showing some of the blitzes that they were running against the Vikings, and it was just one guy was coming too late. One guy was, mixing to or crossing too early, and it just threw out the timing of the rest of the play. I do expect a better showing, but with no wind concerns, and the Bengals have been getting hot. I think it's ever since their game against Arizona. That's going to be a tough out. So I'll take the Bengals. So either way, if they do lose, at least I'm okay with at least being right in this. And if they win, yeah, fuck it, I'm good.
That's funny as fuck.
I'll take the Bengals in this one.
It's funny as fuck.
Going to the bye week 5-3, which is funny. I think that's what I said in our season breakdown. I think they would be 5-3. I said they'd be 5-3. I don't think they got there how I thought they were going to get there, but they got there.
They got there. Yep.
All right, guys, that wraps up our games of the week. We are split on Jags, Steelers, Vikings, Packers, Bengals, 49ers, and we both took the Seahawks over the Browns. Seems to be the record. You guys want to play with us? Like I said, we had a bad week last week, but we usually bounce back pretty well. Go ahead, but we are not at liberty if you guys lose money, because we're probably losing money too. So
got my own money problems to worry about over here.
I know. We have crippling gambling debt. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys for watching with us. If this is where we're losing you, you're going on to the Sunday games. Enjoy. Have a great day of football. For the rest of us, we will be doing our segments now. We have 2 segments lined up. We will be talking about the brotherly shove, how it operates, how to stop it. We're also going to be looking at bad officiating. So if you're interested in any of those, welcome. We do 2 segments every week. We release them on Wednesdays and Fridays. So if you don't want to watch the whole podcast episode, you just want to watch the segments, you can wait till then. But you're not going to know how to stop the brotherly shove until then. So that sucks. All right.
Hell yeah.
Ready, B? Let's get right into it. So the brotherly shove has become one of the most lopsided plays that has to be in NFL history. We did take some time going over reviewing tape, so we know a little bit what we're talking about here. We know the coaching points here.
Hell yeah.
We reviewed it and we started off with trying to figure out what's the coaching points on this, because we've seen some outlandish explanations on why this play is so successful. It's because Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. No. It's because they just have the best O-line in the league. True, but no. They're just better than everyone else. See, it doesn't work for everyone else. It works for us. That's why we're great at it. No. Well, I mean, yes, but no, not what you think. So what we kind of found was through deep diving, tape watching here, was it looks like the way it works from an offense perspective. If you're coaching your team up, right, this is what other teams are missing and why it doesn't work for them versus it works for the Eagles. It looks like the basic strategy is you have your center guards fire out low and drive their feet. The minute they fire out, the second they fire out, the tackle wedges down behind the guard to get that extra push. So you're essentially taking on all 5 offensive linemen at once and being pushed back. That's why you're seeing these 3 D linemen and a linebacker get driven back from why it's not working. You're essentially getting blocked by the whole offensive line. They then sometimes will bring in the tight ends to try to help, or they'll have Dallas Goedert drive Jalen Hurts through. But essentially, the key coaching points is it needs to be that wedge form. The tackles need to come right off the guards and drive forward. If that doesn't happen, you don't see as much push as you do, and the play looks really rough. Like there's one we watched where it's against Arizona where it didn't. The tackles didn't come right off the guards and form the wedge, and they actually had to like pull Jalen Hurts over the side in order to get him the first down and actually a touchdown as well. So that's the simplicity of the offense perspective. It's not about Jalen Hurts being able to squat any amount of weight. It's not about having the best line. It's all about the execution. Because if it's delayed at all, you're not going to get the drive that you need. But when you're collapsing in, it almost forms like an arrow.
Yeah.
Splitting the defense. So that's why you're just seeing these guys coming over the top. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. You're putting your 3 biggest, heaviest dudes right there. You're getting pushed by 7 dudes, essentially. 7 dudes versus your 3, maybe 4. The math ain't mathing.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to. That's the offense perspective. I'm coaching my team up. That's what I'm telling. Guards, center guards, fire out low, drive your feet. Tackles, the minute you see that head clear your knee, you're coming right down off of it and driving as well. If you're pushing them sideways, push them sideways. But you're trying to drive their butts forward as best as you can. B, what from the defense perspective, how do we stop this? What's your coaching points on this?
Yeah, so on the defense, you usually see the same thing. You have 3-on-3 in the middle, right? You have your nose and then two tackles against their center and two guards. And depending on what formation the Eagles kind of line up in, because we saw while watching tape, they sometimes have that true rugby scrum where they have like 2 of their like up backs right next to Hurts, like sometimes even 3 that we saw that's right behind Hurts ready to push. Or sometimes they have more of what I call their spread look, where they might line up in a power I and rely on the fullback, I guess, to come up and like push. So that kind of depends on how heavy that defensive front is. But usually see at least like 5 guys on that D line right there. Now we saw the trick though from I forget. Do you remember the team that like actually did it well against the Eagles? I remember off the top of my head. Yeah,
I think it was the Bucks.
Was it the Bucks? Yeah, it was.
So.
It was. The Bucks had 2 defensive ends literally shoot that C gap, right? Because as we just said on offense, the offensive tackles, they come down and they go right off the guard's butt and they wedge. But for a split moment, there's an opening between in that C gap where the ends can really just shoot down and get a nice angle on Jalen Hurts' legs. They kind of just take out his like legs. So you have 2 ends coming down flat in that C gap. You really either A, hit Hurts, or B, hit someone into Hurts, like maybe one of those like up backs or something like that. Going over top doesn't really work, right? So you have your linebackers going over top. They're losing their feet. They're not getting a push. The Eagles, they're coming out low and just like kind of driving off that ball. But as we saw, the defense has a free hat, and that's the safety back there. So if you have the DN shooting that C gap, coming down low, and hopefully taking out Hurts' legs, then you also have the safety coming downhill and playing cleanup. You could stop them. Now, you're probably not going to stop them every single time, but if you can lower the chances from 10 out of 10 to 7 out of 10 of getting a first down or a touchdown off that play, I think that's a huge win. But yeah.
And to drive your point home a little bit further, like the coaching points for the defense, what we would probably say is we were mentioning the C gap. So the A gap is the gap between the center and guard. The B gap is the gap between the guard and tackle, and the C gap is the gap between the tackle and the tight end. Now, like we kind of mentioned with the coaching points of the wedge, it's going to be that you can try to get there. We saw a couple teams do like the Bucks as well. They try to crash the tight end down as well to try to just wash it all out. You need your ends to line up. And what we would recommend probably doing is I wouldn't even bring a DB out there. I'd go 6 defensive linemen, 5 linebackers. Because we discussed it. There's physically no way they can run a pass play. I know sometimes they line up Devontae Smith out there. They, I think someone mentioned they did. I don't know how they got away with it. But if your D line or your O line is firing out like that, like they have to, head down, firing out, that's an eligible man downfield. You're only allowed to go a yard out. And these guys don't know it's a pass play. And you're driving 2 yards down the field automatically. That's an ineligible man downfield. I would just talk to them. Hey, you got to see that. Or B, they're able to. The D line, I mean, the O line's not going to be able to pass that. There's just no way in hell you're going to have your head between your legs ready to drive and shoot yourself all the way back to pass it. So you're going to have 7 dudes running right into Jalen Hurts' legs. So maybe they score, but you're really running a huge risk of injuring Jalen Hurts there. So I don't think you want to take that. So I'd run 60 linemen, 5 linebackers. And what we kind of discussed is the ends, and I'm doing it on both sides, but one of the coaching points is it seems like Jalen Hurts either traditionally goes straight forward or slightly to the left. I don't think of the 9 or 10 plays we watched, I don't think he ever went right. It was either straight ahead or to the left. So I would probably load it up a little bit more on that side, but I'd go with the 3 down linemen. I want, my nose tackle and D tackles, head up, guard, center guard. I would have 2 backers behind him. I would still emphasize 1 guy jumping over. Low drive. Don't jump high, jump low. That way you can try to grab him and pull him back with some of your momentum if you can. But either way, you need to slow that wedge down. Because if you're just getting your D-line blown up anyway, you're not going to have the time for your ends to crash. So you need to stop that wedge momentarily. Then from the end perspective, primarily the right end is the biggest one here, because this is where, like I said, he runs to his left, offensive left, defensive right. Your defensive right end needs to line up, head up the tight end. You need to cross-face rip. You need to get skinny, get those shoulders turned, give that tight end your back, and you need to go down the line. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you're running right into Jalen Hurts' legs, which we did see. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to?
Oh, I was going to make a quick point, too.
Yeah.
And sometimes, based off the personnel the Eagles have they have a offensive lineman playing that tight end spot. Mm-hmm. So if you can really beat him to that C gap and really cross his face and dip and rip and just go flat down that line, you can make that play. Sometimes they have Goddard there, depending on what their spread look or their like scrum look, what I call it. But usually you have a 300-pound guy playing tight end right there. You can probably beat him.
Yeah, I agree. So like I said, if you're giving your back, all he's gonna do is push your back right into the play anyway. Perfect. That's what you need. Giving you back, come down the line, you're getting right into Jalen Hurts' legs, which we saw the 49ers do in the NFC Championship game. Well, that was one of the plays we did watch. And the right end did do that. He beat the tight end, gave him his back, wrapped up Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is a big boy. This is where the legs do come into a role here. And he was still able to be pushed into the end zone because it was literally just essentially that one defensive end versus Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert, the tight end. If you go with what we were saying with 3D linemen, center guards, 2 backers, that's 5 guys right there. I would go with another end and 2 backers to that right side. That's 8 of your plays right there because it's primarily where they want to run. And I would try to keep them honest. I would go with another 2 D linemen and a backer to the left side as well, with a safety playing within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. That way, or safety type, linebacker type. That way they can patrol and just watch, okay, Jalen Hurts went to the right, went to his left, I'm going to my left, and I'm trying to fill in and help fill the hole. Because, again, we saw once that defensive end for the 49ers got there, if there was anyone, if Talanoa Hufanga was just a little bit quicker to reading where it was and reacting, that play stopped for no gain. But because he was late, he was able to fall into the end zone. Yeah. It's, like I said, essentially just the defensive end versus Jalen Hurts. Yeah. So you need to have the reinforcements filling in. So the defense end goes first. And we even kind of discussed running a little bit like a field goal block. Like what we saw with the Patriots, with Bill Belichick did with one of the special teamers where they ran down the line, timed it up, and attacked the backfield. You can also do a similar thing like that. but you need to fill that hole that's going to be created on that defensive right side, offensive left side. That, again, the success rate of this probably takes the play down to about 70%, which is a huge improvement over the 100% it is right now.
Yeah.
But there is a way to stop it. The defense just needs to execute correctly. And it's never going to happen by attacking the middle. It almost seems like a bait, like they're trying to bait you into thinking, oh, yeah, you need to just load up the middle. If you load up the middle, you'll stop. You're never going to load up the middle enough to prevent it. So you need, again,
And
go on.
kind of expand on that note about like the safety too. My coaching point for him, I will line him up at right at like linebacker depth, like a little bit behind like that mic right there. And whatever open gap he sees, he has to go like shoot now. Because whatever hole there is and that huge wedge they have is likely where Hurts is going to end up going. Right? I think watching the film, I don't think he dictates before the play where we go. He kind of like feels like he might look like pre-snap, okay, he might have a gap here. But as you're going in that wedge, you will naturally kind of flow where that open gap is at. Like you kind of just kind of like move to it. My own thoughts. So any open hole, I'm seeing as like a safety. 3 yards deep, I'm shooting now. Go.
Well, I wonder if he isn't coached to go to the left side, because if when we watched it, we always noticed whenever they were running, like, we're having an extra fuck around, like a receiver over here, we're doing this over there. I think at one point they literally had like a wing, a tight end, and a receiver, like a bunch set almost. But it was always to the right side. The left side was consistent. It was always center, guard, tackle, tight end. That was it. The tight end might change in between it being like Dallas Goddard or a different tight end or an O-lineman they brought in. But it was always consistently those three. And I wonder if that's because the idea is to collapse that left side, right side of the defense down. So Jalen Hurts has a pathway there versus ever going to the right side, because you're not going to run it with Devontae Smith being the end of the line. He's just not going to collapse it down. A.J. Brown, maybe he's a little bit bigger, but like I said, consistently they always had that left side of the line look the same. Center, guard, tackle, tight end. Tight end changed, personnel changed, but it was always that same setup. They never fucked with that side. It was always the right side they fucked with.
That makes sense.
Also, I wanted to ask you about the safety. So in that case, would you cheat the safety over to the defensive right side? Like he's, maybe a yard or two behind the linebacker, but would you cheat him over to maybe over play side guard, or would you keep him head up on the center?
I would put him almost like just like an A gap shade. Like I won't put him head up, but that the right A gap right there. Yeah. I'll put him slightly over here. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
He can come downhill. You can come downhill and also scrape to the B, or even it never got out that wide, like the C gap. Usually, if it does out, I'm trying to think of that play where Goddard kind of pulled him in against the Cardinals. He kind of slipped in like the B gap almost. You can almost kind of scrape down if he like has to. But I would put him that play side A gap right there.
Yeah, and that's a great point to bring that up, because we saw with the Cardinals where Isaiah Simmons was lined up at the right end, and he almost did what we were discussing, but he just got washed down. I mean, he didn't seem like he would think he was even going to be in the play. He just got washed down, and Jalen Hurts was able to just roll right off his backside. It was, it's almost like he gave up the edge. But we noticed it in several other plays too, where like the edge defenders, they had defensive ends, outside backers, whatever it be, didn't even seem like they were participating. Like they were just kind of standing around like, oh, I guess we're here. And it's just wild to us. Like they've lulled these teams into thinking, hey, your outside guys have nothing to do with this. This is all right here. When the reality is those outside guys seem to be making the biggest impact to stopping this play. Like they're the key. So I would almost even load up a heavy front more to the right side. But again, you gotta keep the wedge. You got to hold up the wedge long enough to make this play go off. So if they just immediately get your D line immediately just gets pushed back to linebacker's laps, it doesn't matter how hard your ends crash, you're never going to get there in time.
Yeah,
so you need go on.
I would almost put him in that like it's called like a 20, I believe, is the inside shoulder of that like guard. Mm-hmm. I'll put the safety like right there, like literally right there, like linebacker depth. Boom, just come right on hill or can like scrape. Yeah. I was gonna make another point too, if I actually forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Yeah, but again, that's and I think that's what we haven't been seeing teams do. Teams seem to be convinced if they just go over the top, they'll get it, and they aren't because they're jumping too high. So when they finally land, you're just on top of the pile without your legs, and you're just getting rolled back anyway.
Yeah.
So to us, that makes the most sense. You gotta the key points for the defensive coaching perspective is you need your D tackle, nose tackle, two backers in the middle that are going to hold that wedge up just long enough. Your right defensive end needs to cross face rip, give him the back, get skinny, split the tight end tackle, and come right down the line. So your first step should almost be with your left leg rip down the line. You'll get the minute you do that, you're looking right at Jalen Hurts' legs. Go attack. Attack his hip, play through his hip. The safety backer need to come through and fill that gap after. And the tight end didn't seem like, from what we saw, the tight end didn't seem like he wanted to participate after he got cross-face ripped anyway. So that seems to be the most successful way. The offensive coaching points, it's very simple. Center guards, fire out, tackles, collapse down, drive the pile, tight end, collapse down the tackle, push the pile forward. You're then putting all of the weight, all the force, the pressure of your entire offense on those three guys. And you're tricking teams into thinking they need to just load up more. You're never going to load up enough guys to do it. It's not about Jalen Hurts' squad. It's not about having the best. You can do with other alliance too. It's just about the execution of it.
Like I would want, as a defensive coordinator, I would want to try to force Hurts to spill it, like to come outside to that B gap, because that's what it's designed for them to go up the middle. That's why they're wedging. They want to go up the middle. So the chinks in the armor is what you're saying. Like it's like the edge. You have to come flat and beat them to that C gap. And I'm putting like my big beef right there in the middle. Have like my backers there, and I want to get that perfect scenario where Hurts goes to his left, and then he gets stuck a little bit. Maybe he has to roll, like spin out to like the right or to that B gap, or I guess to like the left, I guess, and you having your end come right there, boom.
Yeah, I just thought about this too. I might even. Oh, you could really fuck with him if you do this. Okay, sorry, this is gonna be on the fly. We haven't discussed this, so this is gonna be new information to you. So for me, if I'm a defense coordinator. D tackle, nose tackle, D tackle, right? Come off the ball, fire out, take that right leg, or if you're on the right side, left leg, corkscrew into the ground. I want you to twist that shit right into the ground. Get your shoulder right into the chest of that guard or the center, and just hold him there. Keep that leg screwed down. I want two D linemen line up on the tackles. We're gonna get away. There's some bullshit that clearly happens. We saw a couple where it was like that's clearly an illegal formation. Oh, that's clearly what was it we saw? Oh, cutting back into the. There's some bullshit that goes on to this play that obviously is never going to get called because it's just a big clusterfuck. So I would have my two extra D tackles that I got lined up there on their tackles. We're going to hold the shit out of them. Once you firing out low, I want you grabbing their chest and just keep driving. You're not trying to make a play. You're trying to take those tackles out of the play entirely. I want them gone. Blow them the fuck up. Just get low, grab, and drive. Don't let them collapse down, essentially is what the goal of that play is there. Then that way your wedge gets a little bit more time. And now, again, you've got 3 guys on 3 guys instead of 3 guys on 5 guys. But that'd be my coaching points with the D-line. If you're on the guard, if you're on the center, you're on the guard, corkscrew that back leg. Dig it into the ground. You can't see what I'm doing. Twist that shit into the ground. Give them your shoulder. Now you've got your full weight, your full force to try to uproot that O-lineman out. D lineman on the tackles, hold them. Pull them back. Don't let them collapse down. Do what you got. Pull them off the pile if you need to. Because now, again, you're getting a bunch of beef off of your wedge breaker.
Right.
Defensive ends crashing down right off of that. That just seems that if you can do that successfully, if you can take those tackles out of the play, screw yourself into the ground to stop that wedge and collapse your ends, you may stop this play entirely. There may be it may drop down to like a 15% success rate.
I think that would definitely work too against their spread look where they have the true tight end playing tight end. They have the I formation behind Hurts and it's relying on one fullback to push Hurts instead of their scrum tight look when they have like 2 or 3 guys back there pushing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because again, you're not taking a bunch of the beef off the pile. The tackle is no longer a factor. It's their 3 versus our 3. You have 2 backers lined up right there to shoot. And as long as, again, I would even tell the backers, just drive it. Just push it back. That's what your goal is. You're not here to make a tackle. You're here to just push it back. Our ends are ones that are going to be the stars on this play for a stat-wise. Oh, that would fucking kill this play entirely. Holy shit.
You're like,
That
I
would be so
cracked the
fun.
code.
Again, as long as you're not getting called for it, huh?
You're like, I cracked the code. I cracked the
Well, as long
code.
as you're not getting called for it, that's the key thing. If you get called for defensive holding, well then you're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
But I don't. As long as you
yeah.
get within the chest plate,
I
as long as
mean,
you get within the chest plate, you're fine.
I would take that anyways, because especially if it's one of those like goal line scenarios. I mean, sure, you get called for holding and like this half the distance, whatever, is a difference of like a foot maybe. And also too, the Eagles probably will score on the play regardless, right? So you really
Yeah,
have there's no like much risk involved. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like in my own opinion. Like they're
yeah.
gonna score on it. So
Oh,
might as well try it.
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be so curious to see a team actually do that. So, like I said, screw yourself into the ground, pull the tackles off, collapse the ends, have two backers in the middle that are helping just push that wedge back.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd go two backers to the right side that can collapse and fill the hole. One back on the left side, just like a safety, like just in case they do push that, and then your safety that can scrape and fill as they're seeing it. Oh, is he coming in? Okay, now he's going to the B. Okay, cool. Let me fill here.
Right.
Oh, that would be so. That would probably. I'd be excited to see a team do that. I think that's the cleanest way to end this play.
What's cool too is it takes one team to kind of figure it out, because every
Mm-hmm.
team after that is going to just steal
Yeah.
it and copy it. Yeah.
Again, because you don't need special personnel to do what we just said. Any team that has a 350-pound D lineman, like they have three of them. All we're telling you to do is it's a common technique that's already taught. You're firing off the ball. You're giving the outside shoulder right to the chest plate, and you're screwing yourself in with that back foot and pushing off. Right? We've already seen a couple teams do it too. You don't need any special personnel for that. You don't need any special personnel to take the outside guys, hold them, pull them off the pile, drive them back, whatever you got to do. Just you're not here to make a play. You're here to just get that weight off the pile. And two defensive ends to collapse it. You don't need special players to do that. That seems like a repeatable formula for success that teams can do.
For sure.
I'd be really curious to see teams do that, though.
Yeah, same. Well, see what happens.
All right, guys. Let us know what you think. Do you think what we just discussed, the coaching points we just discussed, would be successful in shutting down the brotherly shove? If not, tell us what you think. What would you do? Leave a like. Give us a follow. We do this every week. We love having these kind of conversations, and we will see you guys next time. For those of us that are staying with us, we're going to move on to our next segment, our officiating one. Pretty straightforward.
The refs suck.
Yeah, the refs suck. Cool. Let's call it a day. The officiating in the NFL has gotten atrocious. These past about season and a half seems like the worst we've seen from the officials since the replacement refs. We think we have some solutions. It maybe involves a sky judge, it maybe involves some other things, but we're going to look at some common myths, some common beliefs held about how to fix the system. We're going to discuss why we don't think that might work or why it might work. Then we'll move on to our ultimate solution, okay? So bear with us on that. First kind of rumor myth is that we'll make the officials full time. If you make the officials full time, this will be they'll have more experience. They'll know what they're doing. They'll be good. All right, B. I'll let you take that one because I know you kind of discussed it a little bit in the pre-show. Do you think that myth would actually work? Do you think it wouldn't? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't know if it would work, but I think it's a pretty good thing to bring up. I mean, at the same time, too, football is not year round. So, like, what did they do in the off season? Like, I don't know. I don't know what, like, you're gonna go to like a practice or something like a 7-on-7. I don't know what you really do. I don't know, man. I mean, it's something to be said though. Like, maybe they should have some ongoing educational. And again, like, I don't know what exactly they do year round. Like, after the season, like, do they have meetups ever so often and kind of go over stuff with the various crews, the various people who are reffing for the next season, like, or do they really just like once the last game play, they're like, all right, see you in August for training camp, and that's basically it. Like, I don't know, I don't know what they do in that like time period, those like 3 or whatever, 4 or 5 months or 6 months, whatever it is. But I think it has to be some sort of ongoing year long after the season sort of training or just training. Like, it's just one of those things, like if you stop doing something for a certain amount of time and you pick it back up, maybe you're rusty or whatnot. Like, I don't know. Just kind of throwing stuff out there, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do. I think they do go to the team's mini camps. I think they participate in like the mini camps, OTAs, obviously training camps. I think they get a little bit of a workout there because they call all the practices like it's like actually they're calling the holdings PIs, they're calling illegal contact, shit like that, just so they can get their work in too. I don't know what full time would because again, like you mentioned, football's not a full time. It's not a year round. They play when the players play. So by that same notion, are the players not full time players? I mean, and I know a little bit of the talk is like, oh well, they. I mean, these guys don't have other jobs. Like let's call it as it is. Like officials are making like
They're making
$200,000 a
money.
year.
They're making money.
Like, I mean, they're not millionaires, but I mean, you can live a pretty comfortable life off of $200,000 a year. You're not running into them at your local movie theaters working the concession stand. Like let's call it as it is. So I think that notion isn't, and I'm sure that in their off season, I'm sure they are attending seminars, retreats, whatever it is, where they're getting coached up on this is what we're looking for in this play and this new rule coming out. This is what it will look like. This will be a penalty start. We're going to put an emphasis on this year, so we'll look for grab and twist for face masks, not just grab and twist. And I'm sure they go through all
like,
that kind of
basic
training
stuff.
shit. Yeah, like, hey, this is what we're looking for. These are the new rules. Here's a video of what's happened before and what we're trying to take out, or this is the emphasis. It needs for face. Like I know I saw that a couple weeks ago. That's why I'm emphasizing right now. For face mask, it's not just grabbing the face mask. It's got to be a grab twist. If there's no twist, we let it go. So again, I'm sure they attend those kind of like trainings and meetings and shit like that. So in that regard, they kind of are full time.
Emmett, can I ask you a quick question? This is completely random, and we didn't talk about this during like the pre-show. This is a very brand new question I just thought of. Do you think the change in the training camp structure, with the assumption that the refs, they get most of their reps during training camp because live action, you got the scrimmages going on. Do you think the turn down in intensity in training camp has led to the poor performance of the refs? And I'm going off the assumption, like the basis of like there's no more two a days, like they don't really have as many padded practices, not many like intense scrimmage periods where the refs are seeing full speed live action football. Do you think that could lead?
I would argue probably to a degree, probably more of the contact penalties, more like a face mask, more like a roughing the passer, or like intentional grounding, stuff like that. Because you need the contact of the players to be able to see it. The quarterback's not throwing the ball away typically. They're just kind of holding it, getting touched off, and then they still throw the ball. So there's no intentional grounding to see and call it. There's no quarterback sacks to see. Did he land with the full weight, or did he hit too late? Like whatever it is. You're not getting that work until we're actually in games. So from that regard, probably. But other aspects like holding on the defense, a pass interference on the offense, stuff like that, they probably get enough repetitions from 7-on-7, 1-on-1, stuff like that. Maybe even like regular holding on the offense, so like what you see on the O-line in terms of not 7-on-7, inside run. But I don't know if NFL teams still do inside run. I know we do it at the college level. I don't think I've ever seen them do inside run.
I've been going to do a couple Bears training camp practices every so often for the past couple of years, or for like past like 6 years, and like I can't tell you that I ever saw like an inside run period, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's normally 1-on-1, 7-on-7, full team, call it a practice. So for those that don't know, the practice structure usually is you get together, you start off stretches. From stretches, you go to your EDDs, your everyday drills. So that could be working for receivers, getting in and out of breaks, working on fighting off press, working on catching in traffic. What for defense, it could be scraping and ripping, tackling, get a roll tackling, whatever it might be. From there, usually you'll go into team periods where it's like for receivers, it's 1-on-1s some days, it's 7-on-7 some days, and usually kind of ramp up. So like it'll be 1-on-1s, and then for us in college, it was running backs, O-line, D-line, linebackers. You guys are at inside run, receivers, DBs, quarterbacks, safeties. You guys are all at 1-on-1s. From there, it's 7-on-7. So then it ramps up to full team. You usually do like 15 scripted plays a full team. So then you break it down. For those that aren't aware of the practice schedule for at least college, I don't know what the NFL practice go. I assume it's some kind of similar variation of that. Maybe just without the inside run, or hey, we're going to do inside run, but just touch off kind of thing.
Right.
Usually end practice with the dreaded cardio. Ugh. Anyway, so I guess I think that plays maybe a little bit of a role into it, but I don't think that's the main problem going into it. But like so some of the other kind of, I think the biggest thing that is kind of lost is, these are people, like we kind of discussed in our pre-show. There's going to be a human error, and like I can't remember what the game that they're talking about, but like there's times you're like, how does this official not see this holding? How can you not see the D lineman being held? And it's like, okay, but you got to think each official has their own specific job. One guy's watching the receivers, one guy's watching the line of scrimmage to make sure the ball isn't crossed before it's thrown, or like O-linemen aren't downfield. One guy's watching specifically the quarterback to make sure there's no quarterback roughing the passer or intentional grounding. So if the sideline guy is the guy that's supposed to be watching for holding, and the holding in the defender's back is to the guy, and so he can't see him getting his jersey tugged, he's never going to call a holding because from his perspective, it just looks like the guy's moving back and forth and not doing shit. So I think that's kind of the biggest role. It's that paired with, this is what my experience in my play. I don't know what your experience was. I kind of think we kind of talked a little bit in the pre-show, but I remember there's times when I was playing, I'd go over to the ref. You got to work the officials a little bit. Hey, Blue, he's grabbed my face when I'm coming off the line. Hey, I'm getting held out of my break shot. You watch for and they'll tell you, yeah, you're right. I missed that one. I'll watch for it next time. And then they give you a makeup one later. Like, you've been coming over the middle. The ball is kind of out of reach. You just throw your hand up. You get pushed in the back, and they'll give you a pass interference. And it's like, okay, that's the makeup for the holding you didn't call three series ago. And I think there's a little bit, I'm sure, on the opposite side, too, of on the defense. That's what you kind of see from some of those bad calls throughout a game. And they'll tell you, like, we're good now. We're square. And I'm sure that happens at the NFL level.
Oh, yeah. It for sure does, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I think the biggest question I think we got from our solution ideas was a sky judge. The XFL used it. I think the USFL used it. And it seemed to get good results. It seemed to get more accurate results. And it's just essentially you have like one or a few guys up in the booth that are watching the game from different camera angles. And whenever one guy's watching the O-line from the backside. So you got the side judge watching the O-line, plus this guy watching the O-line from the end zone angle. And they just radio went, holding 65. Cool. Throw the flag in. Holding 65 offense, 10-yard penalty. It's supposed to make the game still work pretty quickly, but it takes out a lot of the I didn't see it from that angle kind of thing.
Like the whole
what are your thoughts
on
first using a sky judge?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, the XFL has kind of experimented it. They tested it. It seems to work well. And another thing to point out too is kind of aside from your question is like the NFL could employ like 10 refs a game. Like they could have a ref for every single angle if they really, really wanted to. They just choose not to. Like they chose not to have a sky judge. And the question is like, why? Like, why? Like, that's the only thing. Like, I don't think they ever came out and said why they voted against the whole sky judge thing. Why don't they use more refs during the game and see more so they can see more angles if the excuse is, oh, I didn't see from that angle. Okay, well, employ another body to put there to see the opposite angle then. Like, it seems very straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. And I know it did go to an owner's vote a few years ago, and it was rejected. And I don't think we ever got an explanation on why. I think it was just a matter of, yeah, we're not doing that. So it kind of makes you have to really wonder what is the purpose for not having it. I can't find an argument to think why you wouldn't. Maybe, like I said, I thought you mentioned before, like, oh, maybe they love the human aspect of the officiating. But I think as a fan, especially if you're going to be having and sponsoring and encouraging sports betting, I don't think people want to be losing money on a human error kind of aspect.
Right.
Damn, what was I going to say? So yeah, that seems like the biggest issue of the game. It's a matter of, well, was it a bad call because the guy doesn't know what he's doing? Is it a bad call because he didn't see it from the right angle? The back judge isn't supposed to be looking for holding. He's looking for roughing the passer and the holding. The only guy that could see a holding is the back judge, but he's not looking for it. So how does that all play out? How do you fix it? I think to us, the most logical solution seems to be a sky judge. Again, have 3, 4, or 5 guys that are just watching the game from all different aspects, and they can just quickly radio it in. It'd be consistent. It can be fair. You can have guys at every game doing it. It may cost the NFL a little bit of money, but it wouldn't slow the game down at all. At least I don't think, and it'd keep it called more accurately.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine having that guy that has like the all 22 angle of how we see like watching film, but this refs like can see the entire field and like you say, you employ 4, see different parts of like each play, and like it seems very obvious, obvious, especially for like big games like playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
it's kind of I don't know. I don't think I was going to initially include this, but I think we probably have a minute or two too. It's weird how certain officials like they have their tendencies. They're like, oh, this crew, calls penalties a lot. This crew does. Like I remember, I think it was the Browns Colts game actually, and I remember I recognized an official because I was like, this is the same motherfucker from that Chiefs Bengals game that was making all these awful, weird fucking calls. And sure as shit, it's the same game that had a bunch of odd, weird, awful calls. So I think it's a 2-part solution. It's it's have a sky judge, get these assholes that are having consistently bad fucking games, get them out, dude. Like promote from within, give them more opportunities, fire these dudes that just can't get their shit right. And then have the crew chief available for questioning after the game. Not a crazy, just 5 minutes, real quick, in and out. Hey, what did you see on that last pass interference? Well, what we saw is it was catchable, or the contact happened before, blah, blah, blah. This is what my official told me, and I stand by my guys, yada, yada. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you for your time. You have a great night. I think a little more of that availability, that opening, what's the term I'm thinking of here? Transparency.
like
would make it much more easier to stomach bad calls because you're like, I didn't think of it like I didn't think, oh well, this guy's the guy that calls holding and he didn't see that, because he's got this angle. So for him, it doesn't look, that makes sense. Fuck, I wish they had another judge there, but at least I get it. Like that makes sense to me, right? Because when you're left in the dark, you're saying like, what the fuck? Like, why not? There's so many ways you can fix this, but you just choose not to. So now we have to question your integrity, which is the biggest thing in the NFL is the integrity of the game.
It's a conscious decision to like not have that side judge or not employ more refs during a game or something like that. Like it's very intentional, and like as we live in this world now of like social, like this feedback gets back to the front offices of like the damn league. Not like they're like, oh, I didn't know people were outraged about that call in this, that one game that decided the entire game. Like, no, you knew that. Like there was a bunch of outroar about that like play and that call. Like you're not in the dark about this, It's also not a good look for like the league when you have people calling the game being like, oh, I don't know about that call. Don't know what that ref is seeing. Then they pull in that rules analyst guy, usually, right? And he goes, yeah, that call was stupid. That was not a good call. And sure, the guy, that guy could be wrong, right? The ref could be right, and the guy could be wrong. But it's that thing is like as a fan, you watch this game, you're like, okay, if he's saying this call is wrong and they keep doing it, like what the hell was going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not like the same page.
Yeah, it's bad enough when you have the broadcast going, I don't see what they call that. Oh, let's bring in our rules analyst, Gene Steratore. And Gene Steratore comes in and goes, yeah, I don't agree with this call at all, guys. I don't see a tug. These guys are supposed to be kept up to date on the rules too. Like they go to the same seminars and trainings and everything else to, stay up to date on what the new rules are and what they're emphasizing. And they're sitting here going, yeah, we don't know what the hell they're seeing or calling there. And they have the ref perspective. So again, it makes you sit here and go, why? How? Like, if the guy you had that used to be a crew chief and head of this doesn't know what the fuck is going on, he's still up to date. The broadcast can't review it and see it. Why are you guys calling this? Like, and that's why I think the benefit of the sky, the sky judge can the same thing at the same time. Oh, they look like, as the refs get together and go, hey, I think I saw pass interference and da-da-da. Hey, can you check for the pass interference? No, we're good. It was just hand fighting. Okay, cool. Waving off the penalty. It was just hand fighting. We're good. Keep it going. Keep it pushing. Like it can work both ways in calling a penalty and waving off a penalty. Because when it's live, you get that. Again, you got to think the NFL happens so fast. Even in when we're watching on TV, it happens quick. It happens even faster live. and you don't get the benefit of review in your eyes. Like once it's done, it's done. Now you have no idea if that guy landed full weight on the quarterback. You have no idea if there was hand fighting going on. The accuracy these guys do have is nothing short of a miracle and spectacular to really think about. But I don't see any issue in having an additional sky thing to just confirm, hey, yep, there was pass. Nope, there wasn't a holding. He didn't grab him. Oh, there was a face mask there. Yeah, it's just a simple fix.
I bet they don't do that stuff and do the stuff that we're talking about is just because like maybe they feel like it will impact the actual product of like the game. Like maybe they think it will just slow down a game with all these flags. You and I both know we play football for a long time. There's a penalty on like every single play. They just don't get called. Like every single play there's holding. Some pass plays like I play corner and safety and deep like we hold. Sometimes it doesn't get called. Like you know what I mean? Like I think there's usually a penalty on every single football play. And maybe they think if they just employ that sky judge or more refs to cover the angles that like it'll just be a flag, or a lot of checking. Like I don't know. That's my own belief though.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can kind of see that to a degree, but I feel like it's the same. You keep the same level of a discretion. If it's a little, even with the sky, hey, if it's a little tug, let it go. If it's like this dude clearly impacted the guy's ability to run a route, yeah, call that. You know, or hey, it just looked bad from that angle, but when we see it from two other angles, we go, okay, no, it really was more of a slight tug versus an actual. He slipped out of his break. He wasn't pulled out of his break. Something like that, you know, or like, holding, you know, for those that don't know, as long as you're inside here, as long as you're inside the chest plate, you're fine to hold. Like you can grab the dude, keep it there as long as you want. Doesn't matter. It's when you get to the outside, that's when it's holding. When you're outside the shoulders, so you see the shoulder thing start tugging around, that's when it becomes a holding. So yeah, I think you can keep the same discrepancy of, no, we're fine. But just a matter of having that second check of, yeah, that was a hold. You can see he's keeping his arm down here, or you know, for pass interference, or hey, he did twist the face mask, and you weren't able to see it live, or whatever, because you were in the back and didn't see it. So I just think things like that can definitely be a huge role. I mean, I think it's still the way the current system is set up. I was going to say, when we can wrap it up after this, I think the current way the system's set up makes it a bad product to watch. Anyway, I'm not a Colts fan. I'm not a Browns fan. I didn't bet on that game. I didn't have anyone playing that game on fantasy. I was on the treadmill and turned it on to watch. The end of it would seem like a good game. And I was, sitting here getting frustrated over a game I had no interest in because of the bad officiating. I just wanted to see a good end result. And instead I got an officiate fest, that was definitely holding. I was like, no, it wasn't. Pass interference. I think my favorite line was, I don't even think Calvin Johnson could have made an attempt to catch that ball. And the so-called pass interference. It's like, what are we doing here? We're just giving. Go on.
I'm still laughing about this, like picturing you at like the gym just working out, and then the end of this game is going on. You're like, you're just getting pissed while walking your like treadmill. It's like, that's
I know on the treadmill because I'm like, I don't give a shit about who wins this game, but at least I want to see a fair ending.
Fuck. You just spike your like Gatorade. Like, what the hell was going on in this game?
People like this guy.
I know we're at time. This will be like the last point I kind of make, and this is more like a generalized point about the NFL. Is like it's kind of funny how like they pick and choose like what they really care about. Like they have this debate before the season started about like special teams, like getting rid of like kickoff or something like that. And there was rumors of that happening, and then like they get pissed about someone betting in like a basketball game or something like that, and they suspend the guy for 2 or 4 games, and then like you have a real issue impacting these games. You're like, nah, we're not gonna change that.
No, that's not.
But
that's
kickoff though.
But this guy better
it's like
within the locker room. People might think they're cheating. Yeah, we're not worried about the players. I promise you that. But
even though we're sponsored by FanDuel and DraftKings.
The players aren't sponsored by
like, come on, dude.
You guys are sponsored by DraftKings. That's like your designated driver going, all right, it might be time to stop drinking as they take another Jello shot. It's like, what motherfucker, you're the one that's driving. Why are you checking my drinking? You're the one that's got to get us home. You're focused on the wrong thing here.
Yeah, anyway, this is funny.
What you think? Should the NFL employ a sky judge? Should the NFL make the crew chiefs available for questioning after games for a few minutes? Tell us in the comment section. Are we being too ridiculous about this? Are we just getting our feelings in a tizzy over nothing here? But you guys can follow us again. I'm Emmett. This is B. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Until next time, guys, we are the RFL Show.